Well, just when you think things were bad, they get worse. Norwich City are weathering a storm at the moment. When it rains, it pours, and it is absolutely chucking it down at Norwich City at the moment. The news of Gabby Sara being snapped up by Galatasaray comes out on Sunday, and Monday, the delightful news that Leeds United are hunting Jonny Rowe. They want his signature. They want it quick. They've sold Somerville. They need a replacement. Jonny Rowe has been on their shortlist for a long, long while, and now they make their move. It was reported by The Telegraph on Monday morning that Leeds United are in for Jonny Rowe. A rumoured bid is incoming of £7 million. You heard that right, £7 million. Just for clarity, we signed Yannick Wildschut for about the same price back in, 2018. So do with that information whatever you wish. This was going to happen, and it's going to be fascinating to see how Norwich City approach this now. I suspect there will be more bids come for maybe Rowe, maybe Josh Sargent, maybe Angus Gunn. The transfer window is still open for another 25 days. This is going to be a long run-in now. Norwich are, sadly, quite far down the food chain, and when you develop good players and you've got no guarantee of promotion out of the Championship, other bigger, richer clubs will come in and try and lure your better players away. And that is sadly the state that we are in. We have lost Gabby Sara. It looks likely that we're going to lose Jonny Rowe, whether that be to Leeds or somewhere else. And going into this summer, we knew that it was going to be tough. We knew that we were probably going to have to sell. If not, we're going to sell because we have no option. A big asset, maybe two assets, maybe three big assets. We actually had, on paper, a really talented squad last season. Josh Sargent, Jonny Rowe, Angus Gunn, Gabby Sara, Kenny McLean, Borja Sainz. Look, some of those guys will stay, and there will still be some talented players in this squad, but it is frustrating as a Norwich fan, and we should have got used to this over the last, since we were founded. You fall in love with a player, be it Grant Holt or Emi Buendia or James Maddison or Timu Pukki, and they leave. And you always find a replacement, maybe not instantly, but a replacement does come in some form, and sometimes in a form that you least expect. But it doesn't make the pain of losing those best players any easier. So the context around Jonny Rowe, fantastic start to last season. Injury long term kept him out, came back, didn't quite look the same player, returns to pre-season for the start of the 24-25 season. I think he scored 4 goals in pre-season, certainly the standout player really, and looks really sharp, and will be a very attractive proposition to many, many clubs. He's young, he's English, he's exciting, he's very marketable. He is the perfect modern day footballer, and he's not the finished product, he's far from it, but there are glimpses from Jonny Rowe of a really well-rounded footballer. He can score goals with either feet. He's quick. He's clearly very intelligent. He makes good decisions, and he's very mature for his age. He is an asset to Norwich City and will be an asset to whoever snaps him up. I think the rumoured fee of £7 million, look, anyone could come in and bid for Jonny Rowe. It doesn't mean that Norwich are going to accept it. The more concerning thing here is that there is interest and serious interest, and John Percy of The Telegraph is very reputable when it comes to Norwich City news, so I think you should take his word seriously. There will be a price, as there is for any player in the world football, right? Every player has a price, regardless of contract. If someone comes in and both clubs deem that fair, then they will be sold. It's the same with any transaction in life, right? So there will be an amount that Norwich City have on Jonny Rowe's head that goes, look, whoever it may be, whether it's Leeds or someone else, comes in and bids X amount, he can go. I would be incredibly surprised if that amount sits at £7 million. It needs to be, I think, double figures, so I'm looking £10 million upwards. I mean, we were saying, weren't we, last season, maybe we were getting slightly carried away, but £20 million. Proven in the Championship, young, England under 21s, plenty of appearances for a young player, has played in the Premier League, albeit a bit of a cameo, but it's a really impressive CV, and you would hope that Norwich are in a position where they don't have to jump at the first price. We're not in a James Maddison situation here where we have to sell because we're in dire financial needs. Look, the accounts don't make for overly pretty reading, but we've just sold Gabby Sara for 20 odd million quid. We have external funding from the Atenasios. We don't have to sell at the first price. The contract situation doesn't help things. He's going into his last year of his contract. There is an option from Norwich City to extend that. So let's call it 2 years left on his contract. So there's time. But this also comes down to what Jonny Rowe wants to do. I'm sure that there will have been a contract extension offered, and we shall see how that plays out. Maybe he thinks that the future at Norwich doesn't look as bright as somewhere else, and then you do have a decision on your hands. You're suddenly in and I think it is a different scenario, but you have a Todd Cantwell situation open up where you suddenly are at risk of losing a talented young player for an amount that doesn't feel sufficient. So there is a balance here to be met. Do you cash in when stock is high and all parties are happy? You don't want to annoy an academy graduate. You don't want to show to other young players that we will block your development, because that happens and other players will be looking at this. I don't know, maybe a Kamara, maybe a Brad Hills might be going, okay, so if I have a good season at Norwich and a big club comes in for me, will Norwich then block that pathway? So there is a really delicate decision to be made here, but it ultimately boils down to price. And sadly, we are in a world in football where it does all boil down to money, doesn't it? So if Leeds come in, I would say, with a £12 million bid, I think Norwich accept it. We are scarily close to the start of the championship campaign. It gets underway on Saturday against Oxford. So you are leaving it late and you're going into the season still needing to make reinforcements, which is far from ideal. Granted, most clubs will be in a similar situation, but you're then trying to buy in a market where clubs probably know you're desperate. So there's lots and lots of moving parts here. I think it's absolutely imperative that we keep hold of Jonny Rowe. I think he's exciting. I think he adds a lot of a real kind of dynamic edge to us going forwards. He will score us goals. He's a good pre-season. He's talented. I'd love to see another season out of Jonny Rowe and really give this new era a chance. Equally, I fully understand if Daniel Farke's on the phone going, look, we're building an exciting squad here at Leeds. We've got a better chance of promotion than Norwich do, and let's be frank, they do. And Norwich are probably going, well, if we can sell a guy that's played, 3/4 of a season in the Championship for 12 million quid, then that probably feels like a fair deal for them as well. So it's not always as simple as just going, right, it's 25 million quid, you either pay it or you don't. That's not how it works, and sadly there's nuance and so many different parts of footballing transfers, and often as the selling club you feel like you haven't got your just reward for a player. I thought Gabby Sara was sold for too cheap. I think we should have got a little bit more for him, but I understand the context and the struggle and the pulling factors of these deals. So look, it's not ideal. It doesn't come at a great time for Norwich, having just been battered by St. Pauli in our final pre-season game. Then your best player leaves in Gabby Sara, and then we're hit with the news that Leeds are in for Jonny Rowe. This just isn't great timing. If this would have happened a month ago and we still had hold of Sara, it probably all feels a little bit more palatable. But at the moment, it doesn't feel great. So there we are. Do I think Jonny Rowe will be sold? Yes, I do. I would say, as I said earlier, I think 12 million quid probably gets it done. I think Leeds probably pay that. And we're left heartbroken. I think that's how it ends. I'd love to be wrong. I really, really would love to be wrong. And I'd love to have Jonny Rowe here for this season to see what he can do, hopefully injury-free, in a side led by Johannes Hofport, but you just never know. And sadly, footballers' careers are short, and an opportunity like this arises, and probably in his head he's thinking, I need to take it. Let me know your thoughts. Couple of points here. One, how much would you accept in a realistic world for Jonny Rowe? And two, are you a bit concerned for the season ahead? Let me know down in the comment section below. Loads of content coming this week. There is going to be so much happening before this Oxford game, and of course, the backlash of that first game. Hopefully, it's a positive start. Let me know down in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.